Welcome everyone to my very first gaming video. And let's spend a little bit of time talking. This is featuring, of course, my favorite game, Banished. It's been for quite a while. Let's talk about what I'm running here in my setup, because this is what I consider a very harsh setup for playing Banished. Very challenging. I am running the beta version of Banished at this time, and insofar as my mods, I have Colonial Charter 1.6. This is the early release, and you must have the beta, at least at this time, to make it work. The rest of these are primarily UI enhancements, for example, to get rid of the smoke and the rain and so forth. The grassy roads, unfortunately, most of those do not show up very well under the snow. So much as I love them, I'm not able to make very much use of those. Now, insofar as the renewable resources, I really do love this mod, but the only one I'm really making use of in this right now is the dense trees, because Colonial Charter 1.6 has made so many changes in our iron manufacturing and so forth. I have found it's better just to stick with what's inside Colonial Charter for a lot of the ores and things like that. But the dense forest one is great. I still use it. Other things I am not using, you'll notice, anything that modifies the amount of resources collected, such as, this is an excellent mod, by the way, I really do love it, the something less fishy mod, but I do not have that enabled because I consider that inappropriate for what I consider a very harsh play. Now, so far as maps, I am using the marsh terrain with large and, as I said, very harsh setup, which means very sub-zero temperatures with disasters on and an Adam and Eve start, which is a very challenging mode to play in, and not recommended, in my opinion, for someone brand new to Banished. I already have my professions window, the new one, the little short one, and my town summary up there, and my event log. And here are my two little settlers. They've spawned right here with their cart. I have a large wooded area here, and even a little mountain, which I'm really happy about, right next to my lake, even though this is a marsh. And let's look at our map real quickly here. You can see that my trade river runs down here, sort of through the middle of the map. And I do highly recommend, when you're doing this, is to take some time to evaluate your map and decide where you're going to be putting things to see if it's going to be feasible. In my case, this is going to be my first little town center. It's going to be primarily a dock type with fishing going on here in the lake. The mountain, I will be able to set up, seeing as I have a mountain, I will be able to set up a traditional iron and coal mine over here, and the rest of this is probably going to end up being flattened, so that I could put in some of the other flattened type of quarries and so forth. This lake up here will eventually be all filled in so that I can have more land area. And up in here is going to be what I consider a forest production area. That's where my forester is going to be, my gatherer, hunter, and so on and so forth. So that's my early planning, and I do highly recommend you look at these things before you get started playing to see if you have everything available to you. I am very happy with the amount of wood I can see and resources, so I know that this is going to be a viable. That is, of course, if they survive their first few years here. And I do recommend you save your game quite often, because you never know when you only have one woman here, and of course with an Adam and Eve start, and if she should die in childbirth, well, it's game over. And yes, I have had that happen. Okay, there is my first dock piece, which is going to be the start of where I want my, let's see now, where did it go? This is the other hard thing, is to see where things are. Let's see, it's right there. It's sort of right there. Okay. Let's see if I can bring my road out this way. Now my cart's right up there, so I can't bring my stockpile up that way. So let's put our stockpile right down here, and I only want a 4x6. Don't want a huge one, but a nice sized one. Right now, let's grab a fair amount of wood, because the first thing I want to have them build is, of course, shelter. Now, I am going to go directly to having them build this, because this is just wood. Let's see, I want it right about right there. I think that they can build this fast enough that they will not freeze. So, with that said, let's kick them into high gear here. And they're going to go, of course, go build my road for me first. And start harvesting wood. Hopefully I got enough wood there selected. That's the other thing I've learned. Do not select too many resources for removal too often, because then that's all they're going to want to do is keep removing resources, see? And instead of doing what I want them to do, which is to build my little house here. And I'm going to bring my road right, whoops. I guess I did put that a little close to the lake. So I'll have to put in another dock piece right there. Because the last thing I want them to do is when they go into their house to get stuck inside of it. And there we go. Now, I need to select more wood for removal, because I'm going to have to start, now that they are in shelter, I'm going to have to start building out here to get my fishing going. Now, I have learned also the hard way to not go too fast with these. Hopefully you're going to come over, yes, thank you very much, and put in my next dock piece for me. Come on. Put in a dock piece for me. There you go. Another one. I think I'm going to put in about 3 or 4 more. Let's see, come on. There's another one there, come on. Put in another one, there we go. I'm going to pause my game. The way I could tell, because I want this fishing dock to get as much water around it as I can get. Maybe I'm going to have to put it over on the other side this time. Let's put it, well, actually, it's pretty much there. So is there another, one more dock piece, and I think I will have them out far enough into my lake now I can start having them build my fishing I'm going to put it right over. You'll notice now I've got almost my entire radius in the lake. So there we go. I have my fishing in my lake there set up, and I want to put my barn, and I am going to use the big one. There's doors. Let's put them, okay, it's right there. I'm going to put it right there. Let's get the fishery built first. Oh, you had a girl this time. Wonderful. Well, I hate to say it, just in case she does die in childbirth. For the second child, which unfortunately I've had happen to me. And no, I guess we're not supposed to think about incest of any sort in this game. But now I've got that one almost put together. Okay, so one of you is going to come off of that and go on to fishing. And that is pretty much where one person is going to stay for quite, at least, because that is my food source. But unfortunately, they need to get their barn built because they're running everything over. I'll get some food that way, but you may wonder why I'm bringing this out here. I need to put in a reed farm as well. Can't remember if I set my camera position, so pardon me as I do it again, just in case I forgot. Because I'm going to turn this now and figure out where to put my reed farm while they're working on that barn. There we go. I want my reed farm. Go right in there. And, okay, we're jumping back over here to this area. Let's pause the game for a moment. What I'm going to be doing eventually is building a market right here next to my cart. But the cart is going to act as my, I guess you could say, market for the time being, until I get enough people. So I'm going to be bringing in a road right around my market, and I'm going to build my workshop right in here. Actually, let's have you build that first, because my tool amount is running low. So I am going to need you to get me some iron ore. And yes, you're going to want to build my road, of course. That's okay. You can build a road. That is one of the things I have. Again, learn to be too careful. Don't select too many resources. Don't put in too many roads, because they're going to want to go do all that right away. And you're clearing the spot for the workshop. Okay. I don't want to put in too many roads because, like I said, then they're busy doing that, not what I want them to do. And yes, the amount of food is low. But you got the barn there finally. So you don't have far to go with your fish once you've caught them. As soon as I get this workshop, these are my goals for this first chapter. Let's get them into shelter, get a food source going, and then have something going here so that they can make their tools and keep themselves warm, which is going to be through the combination of the workshop and the reed farm, which I can do with just 2 people. So, first of all, we're going to make you do this, and we're going to put you to work on that, because I'm running really low on tools. No iron ore that I can see. So let's get that iron ore harvested. At least some of it. And remember, yes, they have to go put it into a storage. Actually, why don't I do that? I'm going to put a very small stockpile right there next to them. So I don't have quite so many steps to take to bring that stuff back over. That'll speed things along. And my daughter is already 5 years old. My next chapter will be in what I'm going to do with her when she grows up to be an adult. But right now, I want to get them, looks like they've got a fair amount of tools made now. I do want to up this to 100. And clothing. Oops. And usually bring the fuel limit and this up a bit too. Now let's go to making. We're going to take you off of there because we're going to go back to building our reed farm. So that we could start making. Still got a little bit of firewood. Not as bad. We've got a quite nice number of tools. Now the one problem with this is yes, I have tried building the duck blind, and I get a fair amount of duck meat from that, but I very rarely get duck feathers, which is what you need to make your survival coat. You need both reeds and feathers. So I have actually just given up on the idea. Oh, we have a second child born already. Wonderful. Well, it won't take long for him to grow up after that one becomes an adult. So, let's get this. Oh, you've got it there. You just got to build it now. And I will close this chapter once I get my reed farm built, because in this way I have accomplished what I want to do in the first. I have my shelter, I have my food, I have a means for them to make their tools and to keep themselves warm. The next chapter, of course, will be when my other child, Leia, I guess her name is, grows up. Take you off being builder. We're going to stop there and put you on to work on the reed farm first to make some reeds so that we can start making some fire bundles. But that will be our next chapter, is getting our gather and so forth and everything, starting our setup up there for that. So thank you for watching, and I hope you've enjoyed this.